he would always be talking, and there'd always be guys around him, and I remember even in closing ceremonies. I mean, he was just this amazing, amazing character. Chess, nonsense, and analysis.
Yes, Watu, here we are again. What are we having a look at today?
Today we are having a look at the snippets of a career of a very good friend of mine, and unfortunately, he passed away in 2020. Very, very strong chess player from Angola, the legendary international master Aderito Pedro.
Aha, of course. I've heard of his name. I played him once. Legendary player from Angola. I'd love to hear more about him from you.
Yeah. So, Aderito Pedro. So basically, he actually attended. I'm not sure for how long, but he attended together with another international master from Angola, Eugenio Campos. They attended the Cup of Chess School in Sweden.
Okay.
And this was in the early 90s. And I think actually Advocate Dr. Lyndon Bauer also spent some few months there at the Cup of Chess School,
yes,
in Sweden. And I think that's where, of course, they were already very strong players, but, that's where they got like the exposure, I think. And, and Aderito and Eugenio Campos, they started to become very strong players. But then Aderito became African Junior Champion in 1993.
Okay.
He won the African Junior Championship. That's where he got his IM title.
Okay.
And very good player. I kept meeting him in Olympiads and in Angola. I will say a few stories, a little bit of nonsense there.
Yeah.
About our time, the time I spent with him, Olympiads, Angola. And in what is interesting enough, because we had profiled another legend, International Master Odion Ikoje, who won his gold medal at the Elista Olympiad in '98, right? And what is interesting is that at the same Olympiad in 1998, International Master Aderito Pedro won a bronze medal.
Okay, so it was a good year for Africa.
Definitely a good year. He won his medal on board 4, the bronze medal, and continued to be a very, very strong player, of course. But for me, I think a highlight of his career and a tournament that showed, sort of the potential that could have been, because unfortunately, with most legends in sub-Saharan Africa, although talent-wise, definitely lots of talent, and equally strong with the Arabic counterparts, right?
Yes.
But I think a number of factors, opportunities, maybe not so. What's what I'm looking for? Administration somehow, something lacking in administration, whether maybe not necessarily intentional all the time, but due to circumstances, some problems, like for example, with the other story of Odion Ikoje,
Yeah.
So yeah, a number of factors, and many of the legends in Africa just uh, didn't get a chance to fulfill their potential completely. But of course, if you look at snippets of performances in certain areas or certain time and tournaments, you definitely see that,
See
okay, you
some
know what?
magic, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was with all the right conditions and everything falling into place, there was more than enough talent here to take the player forward. So I think that for Aderito, the tournament was in 2007, the African individual in Windhoek in
Okay.
Namibia.
Okay.
He had an incredible tournament, and he got 6.5 out of 9, and he was second, and he qualified for the World Cup actually.
Nice.
And in the World Cup, he played against Vasily Ivanchuk, another
Okay.
player which we
We
profiled.
profiled, right? Yes.
Yeah, he played against Ivanchuk, and very interesting match. But okay, unfortunately, he lost two nil. Okay, but Ivanchuk was like 20, in the 2780s. Then he was at the height of his strengths. Yeah. So yeah, not completely unexpected. But this tournament, the only reason I think that Aderito did not win it was because another player who we will profile later, uh, Robert Kwaze, international master Robert Kwaze, won that event.
Hmm. Yes.
So they both were playing really well, and I think that was sort of clearly a tournament where he consistently played very well and showed that he could play, at the highest level.
Yes.
So yeah, a very very strong player. And for me, I just like to put in some experiences I had, like with him and Angolans, and actually, I get a very warm feeling when I think about Angola.
Yes.
Actually, the first time I went to Angola, it's an amazing story. It was it was in the 90s, and actually, when I got the invitation to go to Luanda, there was still civil war going on.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Yes, and okay, of course, in those days, UNITA was held at bay. They were away from Luanda, which is the capital, but they were still there. I mean, I think Savimbi was still there, and they were still trying to break into
Oof.
Rwanda and everything.
Okay. Talk about gearing yourself up for the games there. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But so I'm mentioning this because some fantastic stories. The reason why I went to Angola, because I mean it's crazy to go into a country which has uh, it's in civil war, but they actually had I met a gentleman, an Angolan, and he was in Johannesburg at that time, and so he communicated with me, and the conditions were so amazing that it was hard to believe that they were true. I
Okay.
mean, they were paying the whole flight, right, to Angola and back. They were giving me pocket money, and it was something like $500, like pocket money.
And then you still need to go and
And
play for
yeah,
more.
yeah, and first prize was something like $3,000.
Oof. Okay.
And
Take me
yeah,
back
yeah,
to the
so
90s.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was what's the word I'm looking for? It was hard to say no.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Besides all the conditions that were there. So anyway, so I go to Angola, get a in those days you had to have this yellow thing with yellow fever, I think hepatitis B,
Yeah.
whatever. You put it at the back of your passport
Yeah.
anyway. Okay, I get all this, and then I get to Angola. So, because I had been playing tournaments in Spain and Portugal, I could, sort of speak Portuguese,
Yes.
Spanish, Portuguese.
Yeah.
I could get around, with speaking. And so I get to Angola, right? This is when I get to Angola, at the customs, they actually say you have to pay $100 to get in,
Okay. Ooh.
right? I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, I mean that's a lot of money, right?
Mm.
$100.
Mm.
And I've got everything. I mean, I have the certificate, I've got the stamps, I've got everything that I took. I mean, there's no reason for me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm arguing, and with my limited, limited in terms of a conversation, but I mean,
Yes.
I could get around, Portuguese. So I'm saying, I mean, but guys, I mean, I fulfilled what I need to do.
Yes.
So they say to me, they cut a deal with me. They say to me, okay, look, you go tell the rest of those guys, because the rest of the guys coming from South Africa at the thing, no one speaks Portuguese, like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So they say if you translate to them that they have to pay $100, okay, you can go in without paying anything.
Nice. Okay.
So,
There's the negotiations.
yeah. So I'm okay, this is not a bad deal for me, So I go tell the guys. So I'm telling everyone, I'm coming out of this room. I tell everyone, okay, guys, they need you to pay $100. So everyone's like, what the steps? I said, yeah, but I also have the same. They don't care. They still want $100 to be paid. And guys
Mhm.
are
I'll see you at the
scrambling.
tournament.
No, but these are not chess players.
Oh,
These are
yes.
just
Yeah, I see. I see. I see. I
just
see. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what random passengers.
Yes.
So anyway, so okay, so I go into Angola, and I think the first time actually someone was at the airport for me, but there was this one time where I get into Angola because I was frequenting.
Yeah.
I won that tournament, and then I was getting invites over and over, and
Is this
I
tournament?
saw that
Sorry, what is this tournament? What was it called? Was it Kuka or
Kuka,
something?
Kuka,
Yeah.
Kuka BGE. So it's
Aha.
actually Kuka is a beer company. It's like, for us, like SAB,
Okay. Okay.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
example, they had like Kuka. So
Okay.
it's Kuka and then like limited, but they give BGI. So they would say
Mhm.
Kuka BGE, you know.
Mhm. Okay.
And yeah, I'll tell you the conditions that we're having was sponsored by a beer company. But anyway,
Oh,
before that,
okay. Okay.
yeah. So I go. So I don't think this was the first time. It was must have been like my second or third time.
Yes.
Anyway, I get into Luanda itself,
Okay. Yeah.
and when I get into the airport, there's no one there to meet me. But I don't think this was the first time. I think it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like second or third time.
Okay.
I get there, and there's nobody who's going to meet me at the airport.
Hmm.
So now I'm inside Luanda, but I'm on my own, like completely. There is nobody, like in
Okay.
terms of chess or anything. I'm
Okay.
right there on my own.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no one is there to meet me. Because you have to remember, this was the days before email. You had to send a fax and this and that,
Yeah.
and communication is so I don't even know if the fax I sent, if it was read, all these things. Um, so anyway, I mean, just to show you the level of chess, where chess is in Rwanda in those days, in Angola. So I say, yeah, I'm here for a chess tournament. I like a taxi driver, and he says, oh, you're a chess player, and um, so chess in Portuguese is xadrez.
Yes. Xadrez. Yeah.
Chess player, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, tu xadrezista, you're a chess player. You see, I am, and this. And he says, okay, I'm going to take you to those guys they've got offices, the Angolan Chess Federation.
Okay.
They
Okay.
actually have, it's like a building. like in a
Nice.
building, like a big building. And actually, the offices you even play there.
Okay.
They've got like I think it's 3 stories or something, and but somewhere there's a playing hall where they host their tournaments. It's one tournament, and the offices are you go up or something. I mean, but they're very well organized. Have you played in Angola
I've
before?
got a feeling actually I played there. Yeah, I played one event over there, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
ringing a bell now. Yeah,
Very,
yeah,
very well organized.
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, they take me. This taxi driver takes me there, and I go to the federation, and they're surprised that I'm there. They're like, "Oh, you're here now. The tournament actually is supposed to be in a week's time. But
Oh,
no problem. We're
okay.
grateful. We're happy that you're here." And they pay the taxi driver and this and that, and yeah, I'm just painting a picture of what it was
Yes,
like in
nice.
Angola. Brilliant. And then, yeah, the chess players, I mean, very warm. And then Aderito, uh, uh, because I knew one player before who I had played in 95, a zonal tournament with, but it was in Botswana,
Okay,
in Gaborone. And a certain gentleman by the name of Mr. Ramos, Aristotle Ramos.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And Angolans are big party animals. The
Okay.
chess big party animals. So anyway, the one thing this is now in Botswana. So we struck this friendship, and I was always like with Mr. Ramos, even when I got to Angola. He was one of the guys who came to meet me, and Aderito and Eugenio after.
Yes.
But anyway, the one thing that I remember, we were in Botswana. So we're staying in a game lodge in Botswana, in Ramlodi Game Lodge.
Okay.
So we went to some pub or whatever, and when we got back, they had closed the gates because we came, whatever, probably too late or something. And what I remember is that, so okay, we had like drinks and stuff. And Mr. Ramos, he was a big party animal, but he was out this time.
Okay.
He was
Okay.
we had to carry Mr. Ramos.
Okay.
And so this time we actually had to climb over the fence. We had to climb over the fence to get in because
You need to
it was
elevate
locked.
Ramos as well, or what?
Well, what we did, there was a small little. So we were outside figuring what are we going to do, because we were quite young then. This is like in 1995.
Mm.
So we could easily get over the
Yes.
fence, climb the fence,
Yes.
and get over the side. But
Yeah.
now we can't leave Mr. Ramos on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Yes.
So what we did, we lifted the gate up and we rolled him inside.
Okay. Okay.
so,
Okay. Wow. That's
so
creativity for the chess players.
well, we had to come up with something.
Yes.
So anyway, when so all my memories basically in Rwanda, almost all the tournaments I played in, I had always these 4 friends I would meet: Mr. Ramos, Aderito Pedro, Eugenio Campos, or Catarino. Uh,
Aderino. Yes.
Catarino, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Always, yeah, always, would be there and taking me around. Because, they'd always be like, you'd get there and they were so relaxed about everything. What I admired about the Angolans, they always had, they never panicked, like we almost all the participants were there, but then there was a delay from someone from France or something like this, and I think Galego, a grandmaster from Portugal, was supposed to have arrived, but something went wrong. So they just go, okay, guys, no problem. We'll just delay the tournament for another 4 or 5 days.
Oh
You
wow.
know,
Okay.
yeah, you guys just stay and these guys will take you around, the other chess players, and you just go sightseeing, all the time and this and that. And yeah, I was always like, they were very flexible, and
Hmm.
and afterwards everything falls into place somehow.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but anyway, we're playing this tournament, Kuka BGE, and it's an international event,
Yes.
grandmasters, and But okay, those I think. But my first one, there were no. I think the international players. Well, outside Angola, it was myself, and then Muipati Jobe from Botswana. You might not know him. He was from
Wait,
earlier
Jobe.
generation. Yes,
Oh, okay.
Jobe.
Okay.
Jobe. He was playing in the Olympiads. Very
Okay.
good player. And from Zimbabwe was Dr. Kaningoni, Arnold Kaningoni.
Yeah.
It was 2,200 strength plus. Good player, both of them.
Yes.
And yeah, so and but in this tournament, they you would, as soon as you finish the game, they would have already the beers, in a like ice thing,
Yes.
cold
Chilled.
beers in the ice,
Yes.
chilled already. So when you are doing analysis, that already be having the beer, opening the
Yeah,
beer
yeah.
for you, giving you the beer. I mean, it was so that was that tournament, and we go to
Okay.
the factory, and it was a brilliant tournament, and Aderito was really he was he was bigger than life. I mean, this guy, he was sort of the life of any party, any setting. If he would always be talking, and there'd always be guys around him, and I remember even in closing ceremonies. I mean, he was just this amazing, amazing character
Nice.
all the time, and you just have so many warm memories, with about this guy, and yeah, I mean, but
You know, I think the first time that I saw him, no,
yeah,
I played him at the zonals a couple of years ago. I don't know how many now. It could be 4, 5, 6. I don't know how many years ago. Played him at the zonals in Mozambique. But before that, it's funny. One of my friends, we were playing at in Cape Town. We were playing at the African Club Championships. I think Aderito also played there.
right.
I think some Egyptians also. I think Bassem them were
Yes,
also there.
I think there was an Egyptian club
Team.
thing from
Yeah,
Angola as well, and a
yeah.
couple of countries. Mhm.
And I think for the first time I saw Aderito there, I can't remember what year it was, but he was. So when I saw him there, I remember one particular game. He played against Ewan Cromot, and he played like A3 against this. He played this Maroxy bind set up against Ewan's. What do you call this? Paulson variation.
Yes,
Khan variation, right? And he played
yeah,
A3 in conjunction with this peroxybine. But anyway, this is one game I remember. But we saw him there, and my friend Lance, we were into gymming and stuff, and we saw Aderito, and Aderito was he's quite solid at the tournament. We don't know this guy, but okay, we see this guy, and he's also a strong chess player at the same time. And my friend is joking, yeah, this guy looks like 50 Cent here at the chess tournaments. He's just playing brilliant chess, and he's looking sharp. So that's my first time I saw him, and I'm like, okay, this guy. And then I heard that he won African championships as well. So years later on, I got to play him. So yeah, that was my few things that I got to see him. But of course, I'm fascinated from what you are telling me right now. So yeah, okay. So what next? Are we going to have a look at a game, or do we have more stories? What are we doing next?
I think we should look at this game, and well, basically the game itself is it's such a complicated game that he played um, against Bassem,
Yeah.
and yeah, the point is that of course Bassem is always a favorite in the African individual, and yeah, so he managed to take him out quite early, and but the way he played is it's actually it's very original in a certain way. let's jump into the game.
Yes.
Um, and I think it does justice to his talent, just to show how creative he was and flexible
Yes.
he was when playing. So he's playing with the Black Beasts, and it starts off as a French, but everybody knows Bassem will always go for the closed.
King's
Then,
Indian attack, right? Yes.
yeah. He'd always play Kings in an attack either against a French or a Sicilian.
Yeah.
So, all right, plays d5, knight d2, knight f6, knight gf3, c5, g3, knight c6, bishop g2, and right here he plays e5.
Immediately.
Immediately, yeah, it's a strange decision.
Yeah.
And yeah, risky actually, a risky decision because
We're kind of playing a reverse King's Indian here with how many
two
tempi
tempi
down
down.
now? 2 tempi down.
Yeah. Very risky, very risky.
I guess the only thing that kind of works in Black's favor here is that White has already placed the knight on d2, so it's not as sharp. You don't have bishop g5 or like c3 or anything. A bit more direct, right?
No, definitely. But I think also that, I think that Bassem, because here he was 25-35, and I think he himself started to become much more flexible and started broadening his understanding of systems himself. And I think it would be very dangerous today to play something like this.
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to say is that it was an interesting decision then, because a King's Indian player first doesn't want to change the structure, wants to stay with that structure and doesn't want to play a new structure. So, but of course, if you play this against someone who also plays a King's Indian, then they would be tempted maybe to take immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Put the knight on c4 later on, put the rook on e1. Yeah.
Exactly. But they would have to be very comfortable in that position, and they would have to be able to compare differences in the positions and to actually see what could be a problem with you having this down.
Yeah.
But okay, he castles, and then bishop e7 and rook e1. So I'm not 100% sure if White should be playing like this, but there's nothing really wrong with it, yeah. And then Black plays d4. So I mean, right here we should say then, okay, fine, it should actually be White is still slightly better, but Black should be fine. There's no immediate danger for Black. So okay, plays knight c4, plays knight d7, a4, a6, and now after a6, actually, this move itself is, I think, it shows the Bassem's creativity, because Bassem plays knight h4. It's a very interesting decision, because now he's saying to Black, okay, look, if you take here, possibly I play knight d6 check, yeah, king f8, I take on g4, on h4, excuse me, queen takes h4, maybe I play f4.
Yeah.
And but this position itself is it's interesting, but I think it's definitely playable position, and messy, right? But you get the feeling that it's Black who's risking more than White, because Black doesn't have the black squares, no?
Yes.
The black square bishop is missing, and all that White has to do really is to try and hit the black squares and try to open them up, and then there should be something there. So it's an interesting decision, but I think it reflects Bassem's play, because Bassem is a very he'll play standard openings, but then he'll just start playing creatively in some very interesting idea. Yeah, he's a very original player.
Nice,
Bassem, for sure. Yeah. So anyway, Aderito himself. So both players are now very creative.
Oof, yes.
This is not standard stuff. They are both playing extremely creatively. He plays knight d2 b8 and knight f5. and he plays after knight f5, bishop f8. I mean,
Okay. We are
yeah,
setting
right.
up the board here for the next game.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and actually, a player who liked to play like this was the ex-world champion, Tigran Petrosian, right? He
mm,
he liked to also, sort of um, shift his pieces, like
yeah,
move them, maneuver them, replace them, move them backwards, and so on.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, but okay, I think this is a little bit dangerous decision, but practically very difficult to meet.
yes,
Okay, f4 plays bishop e6 and uh, takes on e5, f takes e5, knight c6,
yes,
bishop f4, and now g4. So extremely risky, and black is going for it. But you get the feeling that it's just risky. It's just a risky thing. But I think both players have to be nervous, isn't it? Because
yes, definitely.
yeah, things can go wrong for both players. Bishop d2, knight takes e5, queen h5, h6, and h4 is played to get the pieces in and maybe to attack the king. Rook g8, knight takes h6, bishop takes h6, queen h6, g takes f4, g takes h4, g takes h4, king d7. It's a full
Okay.
fight. It's a full fight. It's a
Oof.
both players. I mean, not scared. Both players playing, going for it.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I forgot where the theory ended. It's like, was there even theory? This is so
no,
creative. Nice.
I think the theory ended after
Of the
e5.
E5,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah. The theory ended
Nice.
right there,
This is
and
fresh stuff.
they both adjust. But the thing is that there is no one is backing down, right?
Yes.
They both are. Each and everyone is trying to win this game.
Both guys are swinging here. Yeah.
Both guys are swinging fully,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Passem doesn't stop. He plays a5. He
Okay.
wants to
Okay.
break open the that, right? And Aderito doesn't stop. Rook g6, uh, queen f4, queen g8. And actually, okay, I was looking at this, like, just interested, in terms of what does the engine say,
Yes. Yeah.
and the engine, actually, here I think the engine recommend some rook f5, something like this.
Okay. Rook, of course, you don't want to
Yeah,
touch the rook.
yeah, the rook is untouchable because
Mm.
then the squares
Open up, right? Yeah.
they just open up. Um, and yeah, around here he wants to play. Is it here or excuse me? I might actually have gotten it wrong here. Uh, Um, G takes h4, G takes. Yeah, but around here he wants some. I'm not sure at which stage, but rook f5 you can sell. You can see it's a very
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
move.
Yeah. For
But it just
sure.
shows how difficult the position is, really. To evaluate as well. So plays rook g6, queen f4, and queen g8, and yeah, the computer already thinks I think queen h8 to be more accurate and already.
Okay.
But even queen g8, he says black is better in this
Okay.
position. Yeah. So he's taken over the initiative because his king is relatively safe and the white king is quite
Yes.
unsafe.
King is comfortable on D7. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And plays bishop h3, although the engine, I think, recommends queen h8 and rook g8.
Rook G8
And he
doubling
says
up. Yeah.
yeah, he says the attack is quite irresistible because
Mm.
you can't coordinate nicely with the
You're
white
holding
pieces. I
that
mean, you can play
E5 square nicely for the knight as well.
exactly.
Mm.
If queen h8 is played to stop to keep the knight on e5, then play rook a to g8. You can see that the pieces are going to flow into the attack. Rook will go to g4. The h4 pawn will fall. So
Yes.
white is actually in big trouble.
Yeah.
But very difficult to evaluate. But I think this way it should be actually a draw. Um, roundabout here, I think rook g1 or something is a mistake. I think he had to play. Oh no, okay, rook g1 must be played because of there's a mate is threatened.
Yes.
Um, yeah, there was a moment where he had to play. I'm not sure where, but I think here he's already west. There was a moment where White. It's very complicated, but
Yeah.
White could still make a draw or something.
Okay.
But roundabout here, of course, White is
But he's
just
running out of steam. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, ran out of steam and is material down and just resigned. But I think definitely a game that shows um, Aderito's talent. I mean, such a complicated position,
Yes.
and how he handled the complications and with the black pieces. I mean, So yeah, this was actually a very successful tournament for him. Got second and yeah, qualified to play in the World Cup.
Beautiful
So
stuff. Beautiful
yeah,
game.
unfortunately, fate robbed us of more via Derito because yeah, he passed away in 2020 in some illness, and yeah, very sad, but definitely has left us with many warm memories, and we respect him, tremendously for
Yes,
his
for sure.
contribution. Yes, yeah.
For
So
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely a legend from Angolan and African chess. I did get to taste his wrath for this one game. Was crazy, but he got the best of me in these weird complications. So yeah, he's. I think there's lots and lots of cool games to check out from Pedro. So thanks Watu for sharing this one. I loved the stories and everything that you brought to the table here, for us to just hear from this amazing player. I think that's enough nonsense for today, right?
yeah. Absolutely, that's enough
So
nonsense for today.
yes, so viewers, if you liked what you've seen, don't forget to press the like, the share, and all those subscribe and everything else buttons. And do feel free to comment as well in the comment section. And we will see you for the next one. Cheers.